Hello guys, and welcome to the AI Governance Engineering Show with myself, Gavin. And today we're going to be talking about a brand new ISO standard, which I believe is a game changer. Let's go. Today I'm going to share something that I believe is genuinely transformative for anyone working with AI systems. So this is ISO-IEC Technical Standard 421192. And if you're thinking that's just another ISO standard, I'm going to show you why this one is different and why it matters for your organization. So this new standard specifically for testing AI systems, and it does something really clever. It builds on testing standards that we already know and trust. So let's dive in. So first, let's talk about the problem we're trying to solve. Anyone who's worked with AI systems knows they present unique testing challenges. Traditional software testing approaches, they work, but they don't quite capture everything we need for AI. So look at these challenges. Data quality directly impacts model performance, garbage in, garbage out usually. But it's more than that. AI models can exhibit unexpected behavior. They can drift over time as the real world essentially changes around them. And then we have entirely new outcomes, bias, fairness, explainability. So how do you test for fairness? How do you verify that a model's decisions can be explained in a way humans can understand? And our traditional test tools, unit, integration, system, they don't really capture the unique components of an AI system. So the question becomes, how do we apply proven software testing practices to AI systems in a systematic way? So this is where ISO-IEC TS 421192 comes in. So it was published only a few days ago, November 2025, and this is a technical specification that provides requirements and guidance on how to apply this standard to AI systems. The key phrase here is right from the standard's introduction. This document facilitates understanding of how this standard name and 291193, 291192 and 291194, and also ISO 20246 apply to the testing of AI systems. So many numbers there, but you get the point. This isn't throwing out what we know, it's kind of building on top of it. So let me quickly orient you to the 29119 series if you're not familiar with it. So 29119 is the internationally agreed set of standards for software testing, and it's been around for several years and many organizations are already using it. So part 1 gives us the fundamental concepts and definitions. Part 2 defines the test processes, how testing should be organized and managed. Part 3, and this is particularly important for what's coming, defines test documentation templates. So things like test plans, test case specifications, and test reports, let's say. Part 4 gives us test design techniques, and the purpose of this whole series is to provide a complete standardized approach to software testing that any organization can use. And now with 421192, we're extending that proven framework to AI systems. So how does this actually work? How does 421192 build on 29119? So if we look at the left side of the screen here, 29119 provides the foundation, the test processes, the documentation templates, the design techniques, and the core concepts. Moving over to the right hand side, then 421192 adds the AI specific elements, new test levels for AI components, a risk-based approach tailored to AI risks, specialist test types for things like bias and drift, and context-specific guidance. Looking towards the bottom of the screen, the result is basically a complete standardized testing framework specifically designed for AI systems. So you don't have to choose between following standards and addressing AI-specific needs. You actually get both. So one of the core principles of 421192 is risk-based testing. So this means we use risks associated with AI systems to drive our testing decisions. We identify the risks, prioritize them, and then select appropriate test approaches to treat those risks. So looking at the risk categories, the standard recognizes different categories of risk. Product quality risks. Does the system actually work correctly? Is it robust? Societal and ethical risks, issues around fairness, bias, explainability, and these are quite unique to AI systems in many ways. Safety and security risks, everything from protecting human safety to defending against adversarial attacks, and even environmental risks. As we know, AI systems can consume enormous amounts of energy, and that is quite concerning. So by identifying these risks systematically, we can ensure our testing resources focus on the most critical areas. So we're not just testing randomly, we're testing essentially what matters the most. So now this is where it gets really interesting. 421192 adds 2 completely new test levels specifically for AI systems. Traditionally, we go from unit testing up to integration testing, but 421192 says, wait there are AI specific components that need their own test levels. So first is data quality testing. This focuses on the data used to train your model, because if your training data is biased, incomplete, or just wrong, your model will reflect those problems. Second is model testing. Now this treats the AI model itself as a distinct test item. So we're checking, does this model perform correctly? Does it exhibit the behavior we expect? Is it fair? And can we explain its decisions? So these happen between unit testing and integration testing. Then you continue with your normal integration, system and acceptance testing. And this is a fundamental insight. AI systems have components that traditional software doesn't have, and those components need dedicated testing. So let's talk more about data quality testing. The standard recognizes that the selection of test data is fundamental to confirming whether a model is well suited to a task. So we have specialist test types specifically for data. Data representative testing. Does your training data actually represent the real world scenarios that your system will encounter? Data provenance testing. Where did this data come from? Is it current? Is it relevant? Label correctness testing. In supervised learning, are your labels accurate? Data governance testing. Are you managing your data according to your policies and regulations? And these aren't things you typically test in traditional software, but for AI systems, they're critical. So model testing focuses on the AI model as the test item. So we're checking that it performs acceptably within its intended context of use. And that's key. Intended context of use. AI models can behave very differently in different contexts. So if we look at like model performance testing, does it meet your accuracy requirements, your precision and recall targets? Unwanted bias testing, does it treat different demographic groups fairly? Drift testing, now this is fascinating. We monitor whether the model's behavior changes over time as the world around it changes. A model that worked great 6 months ago might not work now. Explainability testing. Can we understand how the model reaches its decisions? And this is increasingly required by regulations. And model documentation review. Making sure we have complete, accurate documentation of what the model does and how it works. And this ongoing monitoring is essential. So you don't just test once and forget about it, basically. So here's something really practical and important. The documentation of the testing of AI systems and their components shall be produced in accordance with ISO 291193. So what does this mean for you? So if you're using 291193 documentation templates, test plans, test case specifications, test procedures, status reports, completion reports, just keep using them. You don't need new documentation formats. You just add AI specific context to your existing templates. And this is massive for organizations that already have testing processes in place. So you're not throwing away your existing documentation standards, you're actually just extending them. So beyond the traditional test types we all know, 421192 defines specialist test types for AI. You've got adversarial testing, which is actively trying to break the model with crafted inputs. Privacy testing, ensuring training data isn't leaked through the model's outputs. Fuzz testing, throwing invalid or unexpected inputs at the system. Performance testing takes on new meaning when you're dealing with models that might need to process millions of requests like AI systems or language models. So interoperability testing is crucial when your AI model integrates with other systems via APIs, which is becoming increasingly more common and popular these days. And safety testing, ensuring the system doesn't endanger humans. And there's many, many more. Each of these addresses specific quality attributes that are particularly relevant to AI systems. And this standard provides guidance on when and how to use each of these test types based on the risks you've identified. So why am I calling this a game changer? Well, there's 4 reasons. First, this is the first international standard specifically for AI testing. Before this, organizations were making it up as they went along, but now we have an internationally agreed approach. Second, it builds on a proven foundation. We're not reinventing testing. We're just applying what works to AI systems, and this gives us confidence and reduces risks. Third, it directly addresses AI-specific challenges, the things that make AI systems different: data dependency, model behavior, bias, explainability. They're all explicitly addressed. And fourth, it enables regulatory compliance. As regulations like the EU AI Act come into force, organizations need to demonstrate systematic thinking, and this standard provides that framework. And this transforms AI testing from an art into an engineering discipline. So what does this mean practically for your organization? Well, it could mean reduce risk. You're identifying and treating risks systematically rather than hoping you caught everything. Consistency. Everyone's following the same approach. You're not dependent on individual expertise. Efficiency. You're not reinventing the wheel. You can reuse existing 29119 processes and documentation. Compliance. You can demonstrate to regulators and auditors that you're following international standards, and that's quite powerful. Quality. You have higher confidence that your AI systems will perform correctly and safely. And then there's stakeholder trust. Customers, users, regulators, they all have more confidence in your AI systems when you can show systematic, standardized testing. So this isn't just really checking boxes. It's what we've been looking for all this time in AI governance, which is building better, more trustworthy AI systems. So let me wrap up with the key points to remember. 421192 mobilizes 29119 for AI system testing. It's extending proven standards to AI. It adds AI-specific test levels, test types, and risk-based approaches. So we're not ignoring what makes AI unique. It also maintains continuity with 291193 documentation templates. So again, you're not starting over from scratch, and it provides the first international standards specifically for AI testing. And now this is a significant milestone. So in my opinion, 421192 is a game changer that transforms how organizations approach AI system testing. So if you're building, deploying, or procuring AI systems, this standard should be on your radar. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.